Hi, this is Anita from the Dusty Roads podcast. Today we're going to talk a little bit about mindful travel and what it means to be able to respect other cultures and communities. We've been talking about this a lot lately because I feel like this is sort of an important subject that you see a lot of people that travel around the world and they don't really understand or try to respect other cultures or other people. What does it mean to respect or have responsible travel? Well, respectful travel means treating people and cultures and environments with dignity and consideration. You're not just passing through, you're engaging with places that others call home. I think this is really important that when you're traveling, you might just see yourself as just, you're just passing through, you're going to stay here for a week or 10 days or a month or whatever it is. But that you're really engaging with places and people that this is their home. This is where they live. Responsible travel means that you're mindful of the consequences of your actions, especially around sustainability, cultural integrity, and economic fairness. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aware and intentional. And I think this is really important that when you're traveling around places that you really need to understand that there's people that live here, that when you leave this place, we leave wherever you're traveling, we hope that you'll strive to leave it in a better place or situation than when you came. Why does this matter? Well, first of all, it's cultural sensitivity in that, irresponsible travel can erode traditions and offend local customs. Environmental impact, if you start throwing garbage around or pollute someplace, you could leave a huge, detrimental impact to the environment there. So travel smart and help to reduce harm. Community well-being, that not all tourism dollars benefit locals. Ethical choices support those who need it most. And personal growth, respectful travel leads to meaningful experiences. So here's 9 ways or 9 ideas to travel with more mindfulness, more respect and responsibility. First of all, do your homework before you go. I think this is really important that before you go somewhere, you really need to do your homework. You need to understand where you're going, what you're going to do, and read blogs and listen to podcasts and listen to other people that traveled or been before you. Learn about the culture. Read up on local customs, history, taboos, and etiquette. Understand the political climate. Understand what's going on in the politics and how that could affect the behavior of people there. Know the environmental concerns. Understand, are there droughts? Is there water restrictions? Is there sensitive ecosystems you should be aware of? Be aware of how your presence might strain resources. The other one is spend where it counts. Decide when you're going to spend your tourism dollars, spend where it counts. Support local businesses. I'm a great believer in this. We've talked about this a lot. Support local businesses. Go to local restaurants. Buy handmade goods that, keep money in the community rather than multinational chains. Avoid exploitative experiences. Think twice about doing something that could exploit somebody in the process. If it looks exploitative, then, probably is. Pay fair prices. Make sure you're paying a fair price and you understand what the fair price is. This doesn't mean that you don't bargain. This doesn't mean that you don't look for a deal, but it means that you understand what the fair price is and understand what a fair price would be. That's why a lot of times when I travel, I might ask somebody or say, what would be a fair price for, say, a taxi ride to this destination? I recently traveled to Thailand and I hadn't been there for a while, even though I'd lived there. And I wanted to know what would be the, basically a fair price for a taxi from the airport to my hotel. And I knew what the fair price was. When the driver, dropped me off and it was a little bit under the fair price, I gave him a tip of what I thought the fair price would be, and he was very happy and I was happy and everyone was happy with it. Travel light on the earth, offset your carbon footprint. Try to do something to help the environment. Minimize waste. Stick to trails. Don't take souvenirs from nature. Don't litter. This is a big one. Litter is huge. Don't just drop things down on the ground. If you can't find a trash can, then carry it with you until you can find one. Be a good guest. Travel's a privilege, not a right. Ask before taking photos. If you're going to take someone's photo and you're not sure, ask. Learn a few local phrases so you can be able to talk to somebody. Say please, say thank you. It can go a long way to people appreciating you. Dress appropriately. Research the dress code, especially at religious or cultural sites. Cover shoulders, legs, and hair in some places is optional. It's a sign of respect. So understand when that is important and what cultures that's important for and where that would be important. Watch your attitude. Don't expect this to be your home abroad. This is really a big one where people, they travel to a place and they spend the whole time comparing. Well, at home, it's like this. At home, it's like this. At home, it's like this. Don't do that. It's not going to be the same as your home. Don't expect it to be. And if you certainly didn't travel for it to be the same, then don't expect it to be the same. In fact, you should be happy that it's different, and that you should enjoy the experiences and enjoy the differences that you're seeing. Don't rescue. Volunteering can be great, but make sure it's helpful, not harmful. A week of unskilled labor in an orphanage might do more harm than good. Think long-term impact, not photo ops. And this is also another big one where I see where people come in and they're just like, oh, that poor person, and they don't understand the culture, and maybe they tip wrong, or they're helping people the wrong way, and it's not really helping the solution or the problem. And sometimes when you do that, those of us that live here have a harder time afterwards from the effect, which goes to the next one. Don't be a savior. You're not there to fix people. You're there to learn, connect, and leave a positive footprint. Mind the rules, written and unwritten. Follow local laws. This seems obvious, but follow the local laws. Follow social norms. Understand the social norms. Understand where they come from so that you know. Respect sacred spaces. This is the huge one. If you're in Thailand, don't go sitting on a Buddha. That's happened. I know people have been thrown in jail for that. Respect sacred spaces when you're there in these places. Don't just use it as a photo op. Don't go climbing on things you shouldn't be climbing on. It might, you may end up not only in jail, but it also is showing a lack of respect. Travel inclusively. Ethical travel includes advocating for equity. Respect all identities. Don't become someone you're going to treat people as novelties or backdrops. Instead, avoid language or behavior that objectifies or simplifies culture. Stay longer, go slower. I love this one. Choose depth over distance. Learn to really engage and learn about a place. Take local transportation. Experience what it is to be local, to be one of the local people. Take a bus if you can. Take a train if you can. Become more like a local person. This could be a great way to learn about local culture. Leave it better than you found it. I also love that one. Don't just give something back. Clean up. If you see some mess, you can clean up a bit. Or don't throw trash on a beach or on a trail. Make sure you keep your trash with you. Share knowledge and reflect. What did you learn? What might you do differently next time? Ethical travel grows with awareness. So I really love this thought about, traveling ethically, traveling mindfully, traveling with respect. I feel like this is really an important part of travel. It's an important part of what we do at the Dusty Roads podcast and our blog, A Bus on a Dusty Road. It's really all about living our life as a global citizen. And we believe that that's really important and essential when you travel, is to live your life as a global citizen. We hope that you'll join with us, that you'll subscribe, that you will join with us in living your life as a global citizen, and that when you travel, you will do so mindfully with respect and with responsibility.